What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay Ross, and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be about how I passed my Network and Security Plus exams, and I'm going to give you some tips on how you can pass it, along with some mistakes that I made, and some tools you can use that'll help you pass it. So, full transparency, I took my exam in 2023. So, the way it works, you pass the exam. It expires after 3 years. So when you pass it, you get your certification in the mail and give you two of these Comptia cards. I don't really know what you can use them for, but I have them in my wallet. So I got the Network and Security Plus right here, and so that leaves me with to the end of the summer, and I'll have to renew my certification, which means I'll have to retake the exams. I'm still up in the air about that one, but yeah. So full transparency, I failed my exam, my Network Plus, the first time I took it. And that's going to lead me into the mistakes I made. Mistake number one, when I signed up for the Comptia exams, well, at least the network exam, I made the mistake of making scheduling my exam date 1 month out. So don't do what I did. I was very naive and pretty much I saw videos on YouTube of people saying they passed it in 1 month. It's not realistic. Now, if you have prior experience with networking, you can probably do it. But if you're like me and was a beginner and don't know too much about it, yeah, 1 month's not enough. The exam itself, so the way it works, the Network Plus is very wide, very shallow. So it's a lot of material it covers a lot of material, but it doesn't go too deep into the material. So that was mistake number one. Give yourself plenty of time to study. So when I failed it, um, I decided to retake it, and I gave myself an additional 3 months. So I studied for a total of 4 months, about 8 hours a day. Um, so mistake number two, when you sign up for the exam, you have two options. You can take the exam at home, or you can take the exam at a location. I took my exam at home the first time, and I feel like this is part of the reason why I failed it. If you take it at home, you'll be watched by a proctor. So you'll have to sit in front of your laptop, and you can't really do too much moving. If you're like me, you like to think out loud and kind of mouth verbally, like verbally state your thoughts, like, oh, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 3. You can't really do that. You'll get caught. You'll be called out for cheating. You can't look around. You can't really just think like this, because the test also is time too. So you can't really just be thinking. Can't do any writing. So take your exam at the location that they give you, the actual testing location. Uh, and I'll tell you why in a second. Okay, I forgot to mention this on this part in regards to the location. So, if you decide to take the exam at a location, they allow you to use, I think it was either a sheet of paper or it was a dry erase board. I can't remember, but they allow you to use that. So use that to your advantage. That's the advantage that you have over working at home. At home, can't use any scratch paper, and there's subnetting on these exams. So there's like math on this exam, with in regards to subnetting. So when you do the exam at a location, what I did was whatever I couldn't remember from my studies, when I got to the location in the car, I memorized whatever I could. And then when I went to take my exam, I quickly wrote whatever I could remember in that moment on that scratch paper or dry erase board. I wrote it down. In my situation, it was subnetting and a couple definitions. So that's the advantage of doing the exam at a location. You can use scratch paper, but I think you can't. I can't remember. I think you can't. You have to leave the scratch paper so they can see to make sure you didn't cheat. But yeah, so that was mistake number two. I took my exam at home. Don't do that. Let's see. Mistake number three. I completely underestimated this exam. Um, what I did when I signed up was I signed up for a course on Udemy, thinking that that would be enough to cover all this material and help me pass this exam. Do not just have one source of studying. Don't just use Udemy like I did. I use Udemy, and the instructor was good. There's plenty of courses on Comptia courses on Udemy, so they're pretty much all gonna have the same table of contents. So it really doesn't matter. Just gonna be a preference. But the guy used, uh, he was very straight to the point, but it just wasn't enough. Um, the network portion of the CompTIA is so big that um, you have to really kind of know how stuff works and how everything works together when it comes to networking. If you just use Udemy, you're gonna end up treating it like a vocabulary test, like I did. I treated it like a vocabulary test. Ended up failing because of that. So, uh, those are the biggest mistakes I made. Mistake not pushing it out far enough, my exam, so not giving me enough time, giving myself enough time to study. Mistake number two was taking the exam at home. Mistake number three was um, underestimating. So let's get into some tips. Tip number one, that go. This is the opposite of the first one. Uh, give yourself plenty of time to study this exam. Take at least 3 months. I did 3 months. I did 4 months, about 8 hours a day. So give yourself plenty of time. Tip number two, and I'm gonna give a little backstory. So I have a couple friends in IT, but I didn't. Me being naive, I don't know much about IT at the time. So I remember going out to a concert and seeing, like, I met one of my best friends there, and I told him I had just failed an exam, and he was like, "What exam did you fail?" "Oh, I failed this little networking exam." He was like, "Oh yeah, I took that exam and I failed it too, but I passed it." And I'm like, "Bro, how did you pass it?" He gave me a website. This website is gonna be the key. Without this website, I wouldn't have passed. So this website is called Net Academy. I'll put it right here. Net Academy. It's a lab site. So it's a Cisco site. It has lots of labs on there, and these labs are like these are like labs where you set up networks. You can configure a switch. You troubleshoot it. You troubleshoot uh, wires, all that. I can't remember, but it's you really want to use this website because with the labbing, it helps you go beyond the vocabulary. It helps it stick. It makes everything make sense. Actual labs, yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, so use Net Academy, and then another tool I used was the Comptia apps on your iPhone. So they have apps, and on those apps it has flashcards and matching. So I was not only had I already physically wrote flashcards from my previous mission studying with the first exam, but then I use the CompTIA apps to like play little games and little quizzes with those vocabulary cards. So yeah, use the CompTIA apps to your advantage. I think it's like $10. Okay, Network Academy is also free. So yeah, that's the big one. And then another tool I used was uh here's the MVP rater, Professor Messer. So Professor Messer is a YouTuber. Well, I wouldn't consider him a YouTuber, but he's on YouTube. Look him up, Professor Messer. He has all types of like videos of how things work in vocabulary. He even does lives, like study lives. And also, I bought his study guide. So, buy his study guide. It's gonna be the best. It's probably the most important thing out of all the tools is that study guide. So, yeah, Professor Messer, Network Academy. You follow those two, that's pretty much good enough to pass it, the exam. Also, to keep it a little bit more fun, because Network Academy is fun too. But there's a YouTube channel called Jack Reciter, and it has like little cybersecurity stories. Like I remember one of them, it was about a teenager that kept. I think they were hacking Microsoft Xbox Live. I don't remember, but if you want to know stuff about security, use the Jack Reciter. Now, as for the Security Plus, because networking is so big, you're gonna touch the security aspect. So if you're studying the network, if you're studying for the Network Plus, there's a whole section of security, and that material uh, overlaps with the Security Plus. So the Security Plus, I will say, is more of a vocabulary test. So it was kind of hard to lab with the Security Plus because it's really hard to do brute force attacks on your computer if you don't have a home lab, if you're new like me. So the big one is if you pass the Network Plus, you should pass the Security Plus. But don't don't underestimate the Security Plus because it's hard to. It was hard to me because it was a little boring. But those are going to be my general tips. If you have any questions on uh, more like study tips, just hit me up in the comments. And yeah, peace out.